Hello, and welcome to my home bar, also known as my kitchen. My name is Garrett Dostal, and I'm the New York City brand ambassador for Hiatus Tequila. And today I'm going to walk you through this lovely cocktail kit brought to you by Pinot's Shop.
Here we are with the Pinot's kit. It's absolutely a beautiful box. This is my first time unboxing it, and this is exactly how it came with the beautiful logo and everything on it, and this wonderful little ribbon. The cool thing I didn't even realize until right now when I'm unboxing it is this box is actually our brand's colors. The Hiatus logo is black and white, and the box is black and white. And you can see here our logo. Hiatus Tequila is in the first box. We're going to have the Blanco, and here we have the Reposado, and here we have the Añejo. So those are the three main spirits we're going to be using for the cocktail today. And then we have all the mixings and fixings. So here we have some green chartreuse, and we have an aperitivo, and here we have some, let's see, work with me, focus, come on, focus. Vermouth Blanc, and then here we have some Vermouth Rouge. So let's look at the cocktail kit, recipes that came with the kit today. So we're making three different cocktails. One is a Mexican martini, the second is a Rosita, and the third is called La Jolla. So the Mexican martini, it's a very classic riff off of a martini. Most people think of martinis being very boozy, forward, heavy. This is actually very light, it's very bright. Tequila tends to bring a brighter note to a lot of the classic cocktails, especially if you're using a really good tequila. And so Hiatus Blanco doesn't have a lot of burn, doesn't have a lot of stringency to it, so it's very smooth tequila. And feel free to go ahead and taste a little bit out of the bottle if you'd like. Save the rest for the cocktail, but take just a little taste to kind of see what it is. It's like black table pepper, grassy green apple, and it has a long lingering finish. And all those beautiful flavors are going to come out in this cocktail. We're also pairing that with a Vermouth Blanc. Martinis traditionally are a white spirit and a vermouth, but we're taking a little different this time. So the Vermouth Blanc here, as opposed to being a dry vermouth, which most people think of white vermouth as dry. They say sweet vermouth for red, white vermouth for dry. This is actually a Vermouth de Chambray, and Vermouth de Chambray is actually a sweeter white vermouth. So we're pairing the sweet kind of agave notes with this sweet vermouth to create a very balanced cocktail, which is a little bit kind of like contrapositive to what most people think a martini is going to be. So hopefully you enjoy it. The next is going to be a Rosita, which is kind of a riff off of a Negroni. So we're using the Hiatus Reposado, we're using that red bitter aperitivo that was in the kit, and then we're going to be using more Vermouth Blanc. This is going to be the same Vermouth Blanc in the kit, but you can also change it out to a dry vermouth if you do prefer a drier kind of cocktail. In tequila, how it works is that a good distillery makes a Blanco tequila, which is like the soul of a tequila, and they let it age over time. And the first stage of aging in tequila is called reposado. It means rested, where it's been rested at least 2 months in barrel. At Hiatus, we rest it 6 months in ex-bourbon barrels. So we're going to be getting a little bit of a sweetness from the condensed sugars from the evaporation of the water from the barrel with the reposado. And that also opens up some like vanilla, some caramel notes that from the wood interacting with the tequila. And then we're going to be adding that to a bittered aperitivo. And this red bittered aperitivo is actually called Cappelletti. But you can also use Aperol or you could use Campari depending on what you prefer. Cappelletti is once again a little bit of a sweeter aperitivo, so it plays a little bit better with kind of the agave notes of the tequila itself. And then we're using the Vermouth Blanc to kind of like balance it out. So to give a little bit of sweet and roundness to the bitter itself. And that's going to be our Rosita, which is kind of our Negroni riff. And the last cocktail we have is called La Jolla, which means the jewel. And it's a riff off of a 1920s classic called the Bijou, which is French for jewel. This is kind of Spanish for jewel. And we're using the Hiatus Añejo. Añejo is our oldest tequila. Añejo, the word comes from año, meaning year. And so añejos have to be aged at least a year. Industry average, most añejos are actually aged like 18 months to 2 years, but we actually age right at 1 year. We keep it young because we really believe that all the flavor is in the agave plant to begin with, and we don't really need to add barrel. We're just letting the barrel round out and mellow some of the notes that come with tequila, as opposed to trying to pump in oak flavor. And we're going to be taking that beautiful añejo that we have, and we're going to be adding it with Vermouth Rouge, or sweet vermouth, as what, like I said, a lot of people like to call it. And then we're going to be using chartreuse, which is a very floral liqueur. And these three ingredients are the main three ingredients in the La Jolla, or the jewel, or the bijou. Traditionally, it's made with gin, so it would be diamond, ruby, and emerald, and this time we're going to be doing with añejo. So it's our own little play off of that kind of classic 1920s cocktail. And once again, I hope you enjoy. The Mexican martini is probably going to be the softest of the three. Rosita is kind of the medium-bodied, kind of mid-tone of the three, and the La Jolla it's probably going to be the strongest. So as we go through the cocktails, feel free to find which one you like the best, but there's a little bit of a forewarning for them. All right, now let's get into the cocktail making. Now we just need a few more things. So the first cocktail is going to be a martini, so I'm going to grab a martini glass. And I like my martinis shaken, so I'm going to grab my shaking tin. You can also stir, that's totally up to you, but I prefer shaken martinis. Second cocktail definitely should be stirred, so I'm going to go ahead and grab a stirring vessel. And I'm going to grab a nice wide mouth, round bottom rocks glass, so I can use a nice big cube with that. And then the third cocktail should probably be stirred as well. So I'm going to grab another nice mixing tin. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab a nice old-fashioned glass. I prefer añejo cocktails in an old-fashioned glass. So the first cocktail, the Mexican martini. So we're going to start with our shaking tin. And we're going to go ahead and get everything ready. So the first two ingredients that we're going to be using, and the only two ingredients, are going to be the Tequila Blanco from Hiatus. And then we're also going to be using that lovely vermouth that I was talking about. Now, this bottle of vermouth's a little big, so we're probably going to have to split it in half. So let's go ahead and start with the tequila. Tequila can go straight in, full bottle. And like I said, that bottle of vermouth, it's a little big and it needs to be split between the two cocktails that are included in the kit. So we're going to go ahead and probably use a jigger. And it looks like if we pour out like 0.75 of an ounce, it'll be right at half the bottle. But you can also eye it. So let's go ahead and pour in half the bottle of the vermouth for this cocktail. And I'm using a jigger at 0.75 of an ounce. And then to shake, we always want to shake with ice. So I'm going to go ahead and get a nice big cube. I believe shaking with a big cube gives you better dilution. And so let's go ahead and get our shaker tin sealed, a nice pop on the top, and get it shaken. And when you shake, you want a nice hard shake, and you want to only shake until it starts getting cold on the outside of the tin. It's not about over shaking, you just want to chill the cocktail. And you'll definitely see here when we pop the tin, that when you chill a cocktail and you shake it in a shaker tin, especially a martini, it's going to come out white and frosty. That's how you know everybody did a good job shaking. So, as you can see, it's not clear, it's nice, white, and frosty, and I like to have bruised ice, so I kind of keep my strainer back a bit. And that's Mexican martini. Next, we have our second cocktail, which is going to be the Rosita. So for the Rosita, you kind of got to choose your favorite mixing glass. Since it's called the Rosita, and Rosita kind of comes from pink or red, I'm going to come with our nice bright red cocktail glass. And this is a reposado cocktail, so we're going to need the reposado tequila. We're also going to need our vermouth, so the rest of the vermouth from the bottle. Once again, that's about half the bottle of vermouth. And then we're going to need our red bitter to pair with Vivo. Once again, this time it's Cappelletti, but you can also use Campari or you can use Aperol. You may need to tweak the recipe a bit. We're going to use a nice big cube to stir with, and then we're going to go ahead and load in all of our ingredients one by one. So let's start with the reposado. And then we're going to go ahead and add our vermouth. And once again, the vermouth just kind of rounds out everything and brings it together. You can also do it without the vermouth, but it's going to be less smooth. And last but not least, that nice, beautiful red bitter to pair it. And we're going to go ahead and stir. Now, when you stir, you always want to hold the stirring tin. You want to make sure that the glass is only getting cold. Once again, just like shaking, you don't want to overstir. And I normally stir about 20 to 30 times each direction. A lot of people say stir 100, but I think that's way too much dilution in the cocktail. And then once the glass starts getting cool, I stop, and I'm going to go ahead and grab a nice wide bottom rocks glass, a nice big cube, and then I'm going to go ahead and strain right into that glass. And if you stirred enough, you should have a nice dilution line, so it should come right about to the top of your ice cube or right above. And there should be some space in the glass so you can smell the cocktail. It shouldn't go right up to the rim. And that's a Rosita. And the third and final cocktail, the La Jolla. So we're going to grab our other stirring vessel, and we're going to go ahead and add in our ice. So for this one, we're going to use the last ingredients that we have left. So we're going to be using the tequila añejo, and we're also going to be using our chartreuse, and last but not least, our vermouth rouge, the 3 jewels of the La Jolla. So we're just going to go ahead and start with our tequila, pour it in. And then add our vermouth. Oh, I love it when the ice cracks. And last but not least, our chartreuse. And once again, same kind of concept. You always want to have your hand in contact with your stirring vessel, and you want to make sure that it's just getting chilled. I once again do about 20 to 30 stirs in each direction. That's what I find to give like a nice chilled outside of the glass. a nice proper dilution line. If you stir more, it's perfectly fine, but you're just gonna have a watery cocktail. There's nothing wrong with it. You're just gonna taste less of the flavor. So here we go. I'm gonna get a nice wide bottom old-fashioned glass, once again with a nice big cube, and I'm gonna go ahead and take my strainer and strain my cocktail right into my glass. And if you did a proper dilution with nice stirring, you should come right to the top of the cube. My cube's not quite sitting right, but you can see. And that is the La Jolla.